This event. It's really important to make sure we have a good balance of mind, body, spirit, something that appeals to everyone, something that's going to address certain things for people. I'm Stephanie Forbes. I'm the host of this event. I appreciate you being here. I'm so grateful. I hope this is my 8th year, and I love it every year. It's so great, and this seems like a pretty good turnout. So I'm so happy to see you all here back again and every year, and that we're able to serve you and in our community. Mind, body, spirit, all your wellness needs are addressed right here today under this roof. So I'm grateful to be connected with so many great people and vendors and the community. So I'm here to talk to you about letting go. As a spiritual teacher, intuitive, Reiki master, I do a lot of work with people in their energy. So and we speak a different language, us energy people, and a lot of you are probably familiar with the energy talk, but how our thoughts are energy, our thoughts and our emotions are energy, and how we have all of these life experiences that take us from birth and beyond up to this point that we deal with as they come, and sometimes we don't deal with them as they come. So heartbreak, grief, resentment, all that stuff that we accumulate in our energy, in our thoughts and our emotions, we sometimes don't know how to process those things. Something might happen to us as a child that we don't have the capacity to understand what to do with those feelings. So we kind of tuck them away, save them for a rainy day, unintentionally. They show up as physical symptoms later on, and when we're adults, at whatever age. So what the purpose of the energy work is to help people address the root emotional cause of those physical symptoms. So we do that with Reiki, we do that with quantum touch. There's so many different ways to address your energy and your moving out of your old emotions. So it's really important that people understand that crying is good, releasing of any kind, that anger is actually a really good tool to use to help you release. A lot of people say, don't get angry, let it go, and you're like, but I feel angry. So what I like to help people identify is, what is the root cause of that anger? Are you really mad about that person who cut you off on the road, or something deeper? What's triggering that? And last year I think I talked about empowering today's children. Actually I talked about navigating your spiritual awakening, but I did talk about empowering today's children and how all of the things that our kids trigger us with, that make us mad about our kids, are actually something within us that we need to heal and we need to address. So healing our emotions isn't as simple as waking up saying, I'm just going to let that go. Because you really have to shift your perception of the things that happen to you. You have to really have the compassionate understanding of the whys people do the things they do, of the whys these horrible things had to happen in your life. If you look at it from the spiritual perspective, rather than from the human mind and the human ego, like they did this to me and I'm a victim and this and that. If you look at it from the spiritual perspective, you can have a more compassionate understanding so that you can realize you have the choice to set yourself free of it. You can't control whatever happened to you in your life in the past. All you can do is choose. It's all about the decisions that you make, right? Choose, what am I going to do with that right here, right now, from this moment forward? Do I choose to let it go? Yes, but it's going to take some work, and not everybody wants to do the work, right? Oh, I have a physical symptom, I'm going to take a pill for that. And then that could create another physical symptom, and that can create another physical symptom, until you address the actual root cause. You don't have to go through an inventory of all the things that happened to you and how you felt about everything throughout your life. But you can choose to have a very deep self-awareness, that when something does happen that triggers you, that makes you feel a certain way, that makes you angry about somebody or something from your past or somebody in your current life, take a step back and say, what am I to learn from this? How is this for my soul's growth? Not, why did this happen to me, but why is this happening to me? Why did that happen to me? And accept what has happened. Like I said, you can't do anything to change the past. All you can do is acknowledge, yeah, that happened. There's nothing I can do about it. I can choose right now to set myself free of it. So that comes with a lot of forgiveness. A lot of people think, I can't forgive that person for what they did to me because it happened to you and they did that to you. But what you can do is choose to say, I refuse, not refuse, I don't like the negative lingo there. I choose to set myself free of that toxic feeling that I'm carrying around with me, that bag of rocks of my old emotions and everything like that I'm carrying around with me and hoarding inside me. We do this not intentionally, right? Sometimes it's just an accumulation of how we were brought up. If we have a system of thought, our wiring, our programming from childhood, all the things people said to us, the way our parents reacted to things, the way our system of whoever was around us in our upbringing, how they responded and reacted to things. We kind of just developed that. So you have to have the courage to step out of that and do some rewiring and do the work yourself. Because we are in a time now that's very empowering. We're all realizing, I'm not happy, I'm not healthy, I gotta do something about it. I own that. I own that power. I own the accountability to let that stuff go. Take that wagon off that you're carrying around with you. It's just a choice. And there's a lot of different ways you can do it, because you're probably looking at me like, it's easier said than done. So these things all happen to me. But once you start shifting your perception and really allowing that ownership of how you feel about it to be your own, it's so much better. Life is so much easier to navigate once you start seeing it from that bigger perspective, rather than, the human mindset. We're humans, we're gonna have that mindset. This is our programming. We've been growing up in this world, listening to all these things, society, our parents, everything like that. It's up to us to make a change. There's so many self-help books out there right now that inspire change in your thinking. Louise Hay is a big one. I feel like she's my grandmother, right? She's such an inspiration to me. Wayne Dyer, there's so many. Abraham Hicks. There's so many, whatever resonates for you. Matt Kahn is a good one. If you ever want to play a YouTube video in the background when you're making dinner or doing the dishes or something, Matt Kahn is so profound. He speaks to such a spiritual level that you're just like, wow, mind blown. I never thought of it that way. And he just sits there and channels. Everyone familiar with Matt Kahn? He's kind of new in the, really? Oh, wow. Check it out.
This is the third time in 2 weeks that his name has been mentioned, so I know that I'm supposed to.
There's no coincidence.
Look him up.
So you're all here. So another way that I have let go is that I used to be such a control freak about what I was going to say to an audience, and so I would write it all out, and then I would be like this, and like that's not very engaging, right? If I'm doing this, I'm speaking from my heart. I am so passionate about being happy about your life, loving yourself unconditionally, loving who you are, having great gratitude for everything that's happened in your life because it's brought you here. And you wouldn't be this person without all of that. As hard as that is to hear for some people, I understand. It's like, what are you talking about? Look, this all happened. But think of it big picture and embrace that you're right here, right now. Like, none of that's relevant anymore. All it is right here. And Andrew Spear's going to talk about mindfulness and meditation later, and I'm sure he's going to bring you right into this moment and be here now. I went on a trip once, and while I was there, tropical island, I was concerned about what was happening at home, and if the weather was going to be bad for our flight home, and I was like worried. I was sitting on the beach. I was like, oh my God, like are my kids being taken care of and all this stuff. And then the ocean was just going like this, and it was like, be here now. I was like, oh, okay. I don't have to worry about anything. That's another thing about being here now. It's like we have so much anxiety about what may or may not happen in the future because we want to control it. That's the thing about writing out a speech, right? You want to control what you're going to say. So on my way to talk to people, I always ask for guidance from Creator. Show me, guide me, use me. Let my words just flow to what people need to hear. Because I don't know who my audience is going to be. I didn't know there would be so many of you in here, and I'm so happy. But the thing is, I had to let go of the need to control what I wanted to say because I'm a vehicle to get a message out. And we all are. We're a vehicle to live this life. We're just here in these physical bodies, living these experiences, and we are now empowering ourselves to heal ourselves and to not allow other people's garbage to affect us. Because that's what anybody who ever put any damage upon you, it's their own stuff. It has nothing to do with you, and it never did, right? Any bullies, and I teach this to my kids, anytime somebody bullies anybody, they just need love. There's something that's within them that they don't have that they're looking to bring themselves up for, right? So if you can have a compassionate understanding for that. And I know we can go in a deeper, yeah, but this person, there's things that people have done that are unforgivable, but what you can do is forgive the soul behind that behavior, right? You're not forgiving that behavior. You're not saying, well, what they did to me was okay, so I forgive them. You're saying, I love myself enough to see the spiritual being that we are, all of us, to love that pained soul behind that behavior. See what I mean? Like, it's all about perspective. And as soon as you can shift that, you can see life in a totally new light and be able to, like, let go of all these pounds of pain and resentment and bitterness and all the stuff that's crippling us, giving us arthritis, giving us fibromyalgia, giving us heart problems. Like, we're not supposed to be crippled all the time. Like, it just doesn't make sense, right? So addressing this by just saying, I love myself enough to set myself free. It's so profound once you start with changing the language of how you think about things. And it takes some work. It's like you're not used to it, right? Sometimes you have to really catch yourself in those negative spirals and then lovingly alter the way you think about it. So forgiveness is a major way, it's a major component in letting go. Forgiveness to the soul, at the soul level. We don't talk about anything like behaviors so much because we're just getting past that. We don't need to deal with the nitty-gritty human conditions, right? We just go beyond that, and that heals on a cellular level, energetically. When you heal the energy of your thoughts and emotions, you're actually healing your body, and it's not too good to be true. It's actually possible, and people do it all the time, and more so now because we have all this information that we never had access to before. The world is full of tips and tricks on what to do with all of this stuff you're holding on to. Meditation, mindfulness, there's forgiveness exercises, there's cord cutting. Have you heard about cord cutting? Okay, so when we have a relationship with anybody in our lives, it starts with our umbilical cord attached to our parents, our mother, not our parents, our mother. When we're born, we have that umbilical cord attached to our mother. We also form energetic cords to everyone that we have relationships to. These you can't necessarily see. I see them in my sessions sometimes if they're really needing to be cut. But there's an energetic cord that forms in every relationship. Sometimes they're positive, sometimes they're not. When you think about your relationship with your parents or your siblings or your friends, and there's some good spots there and there's some not so good spots. You can actually be affected by their energy because you're connected to them energetically. So if they're depressed or if they're having bad thoughts about you or any relationship that you've had that's ended not amicably, any like a mentor that you suddenly didn't need anymore and they had a hard time with that breakup, an employment, if you were fired, if there's any kind of connection that wasn't an ideal release mutually, that cord stays intact. And it can bring you down and you don't even understand why you don't feel well. You don't understand why you feel sad or angry, but you're connected energetically. So we can do a little bit of a cord cutting guided meditation if you'd like. You can even have cords attached to items that you're maybe addicted to, substances, things like that. You can have to habits, cords attached to habits. It's all energy, everything is energy. So if you understand that, like as soon as I stand in your energy, we can feel each other's energy. We take a part of that sometimes with us. That's why us weird energy people are always smudging ourselves with sage and carrying crystals, because we're protecting our energy, we're cleansing our energy, and it's just because that's the life we live and that's the language we know. Because it's a real thing. You go to the grocery store and you stand beside someone that's really, really angry in line, you feel that. So you need to like sweep yourself up because there's parts of their energy that kind of linger with you. So as an energy practitioner, I've got people on my table all the time, their energy, I'm right in with their energy. Smudging is a natural part of my day. So I always smell like smoke. But it's a necessary component to my work, right, and in my life. If there's some tension in the house and the kids are having a fight or having a hard time, I just say start, and they stand there and I smudge them. They know the drill, even my dog. it's a good way just to clear off. So as far as letting go, it's so important to move forward in your life. You really can stay stuck if you're refusing to let go. So like I said, it's a choice that you have to make. You have to be ready and willing, right? Not everybody is willing to say, I forgive, I let that go. And also another thing to think of is sometimes letting go sounds very intimidating. Like, oh my God, I really have to let that go. We hoard things, we hoard relationships, we if you think about your houses, if you've got a lot of stuff, that's an energetic connection to things. There's an emotional reason to that you're keeping all of these things. So cutting cords to addictions and to people, if you want, I can guide you through a little guided meditation. Yeah? Nobody's saying no? Okay, we'll do it. And if you don't want to participate, you don't have to. I'm just going to, like I said, channel whatever the heck's going to come out of my mouth is what I'm going to say. So I'm just going to ask you just to, if you can, put your feet on the floor just so that you're grounded. Close your eyes and take some deep breaths. I want you to imagine something that you're really attached to that you no longer wish to be attached to, floating in front of you. Whether it's cigarettes or too much coffee or pharmaceutical drugs that you're addicted to, whether it's a toxic relationship that you're addicted to, any negative relationship that you had that you may still feel affected by. I want you to imagine any or all of those things floating in front of you. Make sure you're breathing. I want you to visualize those, and if you can't visualize them, just feel them sitting in your lap. Not everybody's visual, so just imagine them sitting in your lap. And I want you to say in your head, I set myself free of this, of all of this. Say to yourself, I love myself unconditionally, even though I've had a connection to these things. I set myself free. I am ready and willing to let go. I want you to see a pair of scissors or a saw or a lawnmower, whatever it is that you need to cut that cord with, those cords with. Imagine them just severing the cord. And then I want you to see everything falling away. They can fall down to the ground to be reabsorbed into Mother Earth and transmuted into love, or they can go up to the sky and be transmuted up there into the universe, changing it all to love. I want you to put your hands on your heart. I want you to imagine white light just spewing from your hands into your heart, filling that gap where that cord used to be, filling that void. White light, unconditional love, source energy, whatever you want to call it. With infinite love and gratitude. When you're ready, you can just open your eyes and feel 10 pounds lighter. You can do that at any time. There might be things that come up for you and you're like, oh, I forgot about that. So just do it. You can imagine that at any time. Our imaginations, our thoughts are powerful in manifesting what it is that we want in our lives. I think last year somebody was talking about manifesting. Rhonda was talking about manifesting in your life. It's all in your thoughts and your intentions. If you intend to set yourself free, so it is. Accept that it can happen. Are there any questions for me? I'll just check my notes, see if there's anything else I wanted to make sure. You could also do automatic writing, which is just a simple state of meditation where we're sitting at wherever, under a tree, at a desk, whatever you want to do. You can do it with paper, you can do it with a laptop, And just take some deep breaths and say what is it that I need to let go of? And you're connecting. And listen to your guidance. We're always receiving this guidance. We're not always listening to it. But we're always receiving this guidance. Sometimes we go against the grain of our guidance and then we're like, oh, I wonder why I'm not happy. But you ask, what is it that I need to be aware of? What is it that I need to let go of? What is it that I need to shift my perspective on? And you just write or type. Whatever it is that comes to you. Don't think about it. Don't analyze it. Don't try to figure out what in the heck is coming out of you. Just write it, and it's automatic, and it's from Spirit, from Creator. Messages that you need to hear that you may have been getting messages for all the time, but totally ignoring. But you're making the intention to connect with it and find out. And then what you do with it is up to you. A lot of people don't want to do the work, but it's so beautiful once you do. It doesn't always feel good to bring stuff up to the surface. But you know that that's part of the process. You bring it up so that you can set it free. It's so, so powerful and so, so possible for every single person, no matter what your background is, what your upbringing is, what your thought process is. You can change it if you choose to. My grandmother had ovarian cancer, and I was always telling her about the resentment because I lived with her, so I knew where things came from. And I was always like, you really need to work with forgiveness on this. And she said, I'm not ready and willing to. So, and I would try to show her the Louise Hay documentary about you can heal your life. And she was so distracted and not paying any attention because that was her thing she had to experience. And that's hard to grasp sometimes when we love someone and we're watching them suffer. Because we know what we think they have to do, but they have to do things at their pace, in their way. We can only drop seeds of inspiration. This is what I know. This is what I heard worked for this person. And trust that they're living the life that they're supposed to live. We can only be grateful for our role. We can't take everyone by the hand and say, this is what you need to do. My God, I'd feel so down all the time if I did that in my practice, because all the people, I'm like, this is what your soul wants you to know. And what they do with that, this is a thought pattern that you're stuck in, and here's an alternative to shift that. But if they don't want to do the work, I've done my job. I've done my messenger work, right? Like, I can't follow you all home and make sure. My God, I got a busy life myself, so. Anyway, does anyone have any questions about letting go or?
Okay.
Yeah.
If you have a habit like cigarettes, smoking, drinking, whatever, how many times do you have to do the letting go process before you can feel comfortable enough to let go of the addiction or whatever?
Because sometimes there's layers of it. So you could go to hypnosis to address quitting smoking, but first you have to address this level and then this level. So you need that's why they offer them in a couple of session packages, because it's not just there you go, it's done. You got to uncover those layers, and every layer has a healing crisis or a healing, a cleansing process that you have to experience. Sometimes it doesn't feel nice. Sometimes it's all of a sudden you're angry about something. Sometimes you have like a crazy dream. It's all part of the release process. And you have to trust that every step is progress, and you're doing things following your guidance, right? If you feel guided to quit smoking and you go to a hypnosis person, that's you're listening to your guidance. If you're like, oh, I don't know what to do, and you're hemming and hawing, you know what you have to do, and then you change your mind, and then you decide to do something else, and then you're not trusting in the process. Intuition, I teach intuition development, so I'm listening to your guidance. We always get it, but our ego says, no, don't. You don't have the ability to do that, or somebody might think this of you, and don't bother. But it's like you just do it. That's the first instinct that you get, is your intuition guiding you into what the process is for you, because it may not be the same for another person. It might be essential oils that helps kickstart, something to help you heal. That kind of brings up the emotions too. They all work. Everything here works together. And it's just a matter of finding out which one is best for you. What else do I want to say? Allowing your evolution. Sometimes we refuse to move forward, and we don't allow ourselves to evolve because we have to let go of some things before we can get to the next level of who we are. Sometimes we have relationships that we carry along with us that we know are toxic, that we don't feel joy from. You know, the Marie Kondo documentary about touch your clothes, and if it doesn't bring you joy, get rid of it. It's the same with your friends. Touch your friends. If you don't feel joy from this friendship, it's time to move on. And sometimes we hold on because we feel obligated. Sometimes we hold on to family members that are super draining and super toxic because we feel, well, we're our family, we have to. No, you don't. If you don't feel joy, you don't have to be around these people. You don't have to say yes when you really want to say no. That is the freedom that we have. But sometimes we're so concerned about what other people are going to think of us. That's another thing to let go of. Wayne Dyer, my boyfriend, he said, he's not my boyfriend. I don't know if you hope you will know who Wayne Dyer is, because I do it on LinkedIn. He said, what other people think of you is none of your business.
Yeah.
And how many people know of somebody that said something, or they're worried about what somebody's gonna think, and we took that on and carried it around with us. Oh my God, they think this of me. If I cared about what people thought of me, I wouldn't be doing what I do. I come from a small town. We're very conservative. We don't talk about hippie stuff. Energy, spirit. What are you doing breastfeeding your child? What are you doing waving the turkey feather around with your smudge? Like, if I cared what people thought, I would never have evolved into who I am and to deliver the messages that I'm supposed to deliver. You know? So we hold ourselves back, intentionally or not, and we're making the choices now to step out of that. I'm free to live my life however the heck I want. I don't have to carry all that load behind me anymore, or in front of me, or on my butt, whatever. So anyway, I hope that, yeah, you have a question?
I have, one thing for me is guilt of letting go.
So again, there's nothing that you can do about what happened. All you can do is say, I'm sorry, I forgive myself. That's a big deal. We're not only just forgiving other people, we're forgiving ourselves. Because yeah, we've all done something that we have guilt about, or we think, oh my God, I wish I would have done that better. Especially parenting stuff. Like, ooh, yeah, that night didn't go that great, or that morning, and then we carry it. We all do it, it's a habit, right? But we can choose, hey, well, I'm gonna choose to be better than I was yesterday. I'm gonna choose to forgive myself and love myself just as I am, because I'm not the same person I was yesterday. And you're not always gonna get forgiveness from other people. You have to be okay with that. That's theirs, not yours to own. Does that help? Okay, you're welcome. Any other questions? I have no idea how long I've been standing up here.
28 minutes.
Oh, okay. Whoops. Okay, any other questions before we move on? Who's next? Exploring Akashic Records. That is going to be a fascinating talk.